Action. Hey, how y'all doing today? It's your boy Hidden Increase. This is the CEO and founder Darnell Parker, and today we're just gonna kind of show you guys what it looks like to do planning. So we're going old school. We're doing the college ruled 70 sheet, one subject notebook, old fashioned. We just got this from Dollar General. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open it up. It's fresh. So I learned a lot of this. Give me 1 second. I'm also on my computer. Valuetainment. I was on Valuetainment, and I just came across this 5. It was like a 5. Sorry, I was like, oh, how do you hire your first employee as an entrepreneur, right? And I was like, there's some good stuff in here. So let me kind of show you kind of what some of the things that I saw. So the first thing is we're gonna focus on this number. This number is gonna be called 5. So the number 5. So you might be like, all right, with 5, like what with 5 was something that what was it about 5? Now, if you'll excuse me, I kind of want to go ahead and I'll stay in the shot, but I kind of want to put the focus more on the notebook. So let me go ahead and make this the main part. Okay. And let me go ahead and move this. We'll just put this and let it stay here. Perfect. Okay, so 5. So what do we learn with 5? So what we learned with 5, what I learned with 5 is this. So it was 5 things. First thing was it was like marketing, sales, product, administration, and there was one more. So let me review this video real quick. Let me review the video as I go back to the ad, because it was a very solid. I think it was product development, marketing, finance. Yeah. So this is what it was. This is what was in the video. So I listened. And then I said, I need to go get a notebook. And then I said, I'm going to follow through on what I initially wanted to do, which was write my own notes and then to start this and create my own strategies. So I asked myself this first question. My first question was, okay, so what typically did I want to do? What was my initial reason for starting a business? So my initial reason, thank you. So my initial reason, you're gonna get fired. You're about to get fired. So my initial reason for pretty much starting my business was I wanted to do music. Right? I wanted to do music, I wanted to be an artist, but I also wanted to do ministry all at the same time. That's what I still want to do in my life. But I did not know how to structure a business. I was like, well, what did you get? So I got my EIN, I got my LLC, open my business account. I got my articles of good standings. Checked for license. I'm gonna probably spell that wrong. And I still do my research daily. While I'm in school as a music education major, right? And you might be asking, okay, but I was like, okay, I'm at the point where I'm peaking my performance and I need to hire people. So what do you do when you need to hire people? So this is what I got from the video. 5 departments. Every business has 5 departments that you want to focus on. You also want to think about the next CEO. And you want to think about the next COO. So one is an executive owner. Another one is operations owner or operating owner. So when you're hiring, you want to pretty much you want to find a trainee, a mentee that's going to take on this legacy. If something would happen to you, okay, this is somebody that works closely with you and they can pretty much run this business too. That's how you really want to train them all. Some will stay, some will go, but this is how you want to set it up. And I was asking myself, okay, with the business that I made, that I said I was believing God for, why did it feel like I was failing? And he simply showed me one thing. God was like, I'm going to change it into a different color so that you, he was like, I see that, right? He said, you're creating jobs. The reason why you can't do it all is because you're meant to create jobs. And I had to think about this. Because I was like, in order for me to create jobs, I have to have a strategy on how to hire, how to employ people. And then, boom, I got to this video, and these are the 5 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So I'm like, alright, wow, that's amazing. This is how my brain operates sometimes too. I know it's not top to bottom. I'm freelancing my notes. So from this first piece of paper, what did we learn? Well, from page 1, this is what I've learned. I've learned that I'm in I see that. I'm in position. So let's turn the page. And now I want to put our focus on, okay, we're in position. Now, what do we do? So I asked myself, okay, so where am I? So where am I? Where am I? So if I were to put myself in this business, if I was to put myself as an employee in this business, where do I stand? Well, product development. And I asked myself, why? And it's because I know how to produce / manufacture products such as books, songs, albums, CDs, clothes, websites, videos. All of these are products. And you pretty much can put them in two different categories. You got your physical products and your digital products. But not only do I know how to do that, but I also know how to do education. So guess what's a product of that? A course is a product. Sometimes courses are products. Okay. Because I've done this, what do I value? I value the process. Right? That's what I value. So, the first thing, if we were to go back here, I would say that I can do the products. Well, I also didn't go to school to start my business. So the next thing would be administration. But I would also need some aids in that, but I've done it. The next thing that I would say is marketing. Because I've done it with social media. Right? Fourth thing I would say is finances. Because I have that license and insurance, and I got that financial literacy. But I got all these gifts, don't know how to put it down on paper. So this is why we're here. The last thing my least worry is sales. Even though it should be what I'm concerned about, but you can't make a sale if you ain't got everything else. You also can't make a sale if you're not selling it right. So I was like, what's a better way to sell than notebook? And what are you selling? I'm selling the process. I'm not selling the product, I'm selling the process. That's why we're going through this video, the way we're going through this video. So your product is the process. And you have a keepsake. And that's your music, gear, etc. Right? You have that. With administration, what do you do? Create jobs, onboard, and communicate. Marketing, social media, events, and in-person meetings. Boom, finances. Financial literacy, smart moves. Smart moves, investments. I know all of this is looks like chicken scratch, but this is just how I'm looking at things. So then I ask myself, so do you have the capability to have an understanding of all 5 of these? And my answer goes from, I don't think I can do this, to yes, Lord, I can. So I should have started off with this, but Habakkuk 2 and 2. Some people know it as write the vision. Write the vision and make it And there's more to that, but write the vision and make it plain. Who would have thought that the Notebook is actually what creates billionaires? The Notebook is what creates millionaires. The Notebook is what gets you a job. This is your vision. So now I have to ask, what do I want to focus on? And what am I going to need? I want to focus on making music. I want to focus on making the music, also known as the process. So that puts me in the product development category department, right? Why? Because I want to go back to school for mechanical engineering, I want to go back to school for woodwork, I have my education behind my belt, but I'm also getting my cybersecurity education, and then more to come. What do you already know how to do? I know how to make digital products. Right? So I can make my digital products, okay? So I know how to make I just do it from this side. So like my VSTs, my MIDIs, my MIDIs, my VSTs, my loops, I can do that. I just need to find a marketplace. I know how to make music, how to make videos. I know how to kind of make an e-course, right? I know how to do these things, but it takes some time. But this would be my focus, is digital products. And while I do that, I can turn those digital products into physical ones. So your merch and your books, preferably sheet music, right? I can do that. And that fits for me. How would you, if it was just me, how would you? So that's the product. So how would you market the product? So marketing. So let's go ahead and take this orange. Let's say so marketing. Ooh. I don't like that at all. Well, we're just gonna go with it. So marketing. So how would you go by marketing? Social media. And the only thing that you have to find here is who is your audience. I know what it's not. It's not the popular culture. It's not them. It's the process and quality appreciators. Why? Because our focus is the process. We're selling people the process. Music takes time. Music takes time. It's art and it's an experience. So we have to create a business, or we have to market ourselves with hospitality, a certain, I want to say image, but a certain aesthetic. And we kind of do things at a slower pace versus our competition. So what we pretty much are going to be marketing is consistency. It's just that we have to be consistent with our identity, our purpose, and obviously with the project or the process. But we haven't been able to actually capture that. So this is happening in the market. So social media, but if I'm honest, YouTube. You can do your TikToks, your shorts, your reels. But YouTube will be our biggest one because we can do those really, really long videos. I like really long videos. I like the really long videos. Something that I could put it on, and I know that I can get through the day listening to this. So that's marketing. Alright. So we got products down. Let's go back here. So our products, we got that knocked out. Okay, marketing. Okay, we got that knocked out. Administration. So now you're talking about jobs. This is where looking at jobs and other things will begin to come into play. So administration. Okay. So what would we do? So administration is more about events, communication, and creating jobs. So it's to take what we need and correctly communicate the need. This is my weak spot because I typically go on a search and find how to use different things and be innovative with the tools I do have. But in order to build community, we need a strong administration group. That doesn't include me, because my community is within the product development. So if I were to go on this myself, I'm only looking for people that know how to produce product, that enjoy the process, enjoy and can obviously find ways how to supplement income if needed. Because this is not a business where we make bank. It can be, but you have to fall in love with the process. And not everybody can do that. Not everybody's patient. So I'm looking for patient people. I'm looking for adjustable or flexible people. And I had to learn how to make operations not dependent on a person's availability, but they have to be in some form available or reachable. Because if you can't do that, you can't work. So if he was like, specifically, what do we need? We need a social media manager, right? We need I want to find a dedicated, we know, like a dedicated graphic designer, which I pretty much already have. I mean, I gotta think about how we gonna pay him. I would love to get a filmmaker plus editor, and that's the department right there. And even if you wanted to, you could find an English or a communication specialist. Somebody that's fluent in different languages, somebody that is able to be more understanding about the cultures that we might be reaching or trying to reach. That's what I would look for admin. Because not even social media is our biggest market. We need somebody that's going to pay us analytics. The maker, the director, the graphic designer, the communicator, all of those people are all part of the same. Yeah, I know it says administration. And obviously the CEO. Or the operator. Owner at the time. So that we can get what we gotta get done in there. So this will be something, hey, this is what we're looking for. Can we do this? And obviously a secretary. So you got your secretary, you got your law person, like somebody that's in charge of like the law, making sure we're doing things in compliance and within our ethicality. They kind of go hand in hand. Here you also need your treasurer here, which should pretty much be the head of that department. You only need 5 departments. You got your treasurer, you got your law enforcement, you got that, your secretary, you got your CEO, you got your market manager, and you got your analytics. Then your analytics person. So this is a big department. Admin, maybe 10 people. That's all you need. And really 5. So right there, that's 10. That's 5 to 10 jobs. And then you gotta ask yourself, what would they be getting paid? How would they be getting paid? I need people that got strategy. This is the important one, because if you're not in this room, then you're not able to help us get closer to operations or business or anything like that, right? But the issue is that whoever's in this room also has to be a certain type of person. You can't, because our focus really ain't about business, it's about bettering communities. Are we doing that, or are we, are we just out here money hungry? I'm not money hungry. I'm trying to actually make a difference, a true difference, a genuine one, not an ingenuine one. So, that works. So go ahead and take admin out, and we can always add. That's why we have more than one person in administration. Your products developers, those are really your artists, / your employees. You got your marketing, which, if we're honest, that's about 3 to 5 people that kind of work with all of the artists within or all of the people that's creating stuff, just, for consulting purposes. So right now we're looking at 8 to 15 jobs. Now the finance group, obviously that'll be head department of the treasurer. So you got treasurer, you got your financial lit person, you got your financial analytics, you got your financial strategist, or somebody that can do it all, but we can, and then we can do just one more, like a financial miscellaneous, or, that's what they got, 5 people. So now we just went from 15 jobs to 20 jobs. Now we're just trying to add jobs at this point. Now we're just trying to create any type of job possible. Okay. So let's look at last one. Sales. These are for my money people. Obviously, they have to be in compliance with, hey, if we're not in agreement with this as a business or as a community, then we're good. Man, we could get 3 solid people, maybe 5. I like that number 5. So, let's say 5 people. So that means we done got to about 25 to 30 jobs, right? With one business. And LLCs, locations that we have 2 of them. We have one in Illinois, then we have one in Minnesota. And I want to be able to provide enough income to bring these jobs, starting off at like entry-level jobs, because we gotta have part-times and we gotta have full-times. So full-times would start off at like whatever minimum wage is. And obviously if you have credentials, so like a BA, master's, or a doctoral, then we'll have to start off a salary for you. And then obviously like high school. No, we do associates in high school. So that's how I want to do it. So we'll do high school, associates, bachelor's, master's, PhD, or doctoral. Because, I mean, it kind of looks like we're building a school in a form. So let's say, our high schoolers are also probably going to be our part-timers. So we're just going to do, 15 to 16 an hour. It just really depends on the location, but that's typically what minimum wage is 15 to 16 an hour, right? If you got an associate's degree, that means that you went to junior college and you got some that try to get you up to 18 an hour, right? Because you're not going to get too many people. I'm not going to rely on people. You at 18 getting paid 18 an hour. Oh yeah, you got an associate's? Yeah, I'm gonna, because that's education to me, so that matters here. The history behind it is associate degrees used to get you a job. That's an entry level thing. They took that away. Why not bring it back? For a BA, man, imagine if I could get you started off, and I'm dreaming, but imagine if I could get you You got a bachelor's degree? Okay, you can make about $20 an hour. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it's something. Then we bump it up. Master's degree, okay, 25. Okay, what about my doctoral people? 30 to 35 an hour. Well, they got a range because at that point you kind of gotta pay them that. So let's just say, let's do 40 hours. So we're gonna do this average 40 hours, with the exception of this one. We're gonna start off at 30. So I'm gonna go on ChatGPT real quick. Y'all can't see it, and I'm just gonna say, okay, 30 hours with a $15 to $16 wage is how much for the year? So let's go ahead and just figure out what this looks like. So say $15 an hour, and let's say it's 30 times 52 for each week. That's about 160 hours. And multiply that by 15, so you can be making about $2,300 a year. High school. And this is for $15. And then if you got 16, it's right. So that's how much you can make. That's how much I would want to pay. All right. So now let's go to the next level was 19. Okay. So now we're doing 40 hours for 18 hour for the year. So now we're on our 18, right? So 18, so you got your 40 times your 52, and you got more hours, and then on top of that, you're getting paid more. So this is looking like, okay, you can live off of this. This is bare minimum living. Dang it, close to 40 grand. Before taxes, obviously. But that's not bad. Okay. Let's turn it around. So we got a 20. We got a 25, a 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Alright. Okay. So now do 4 hour per hour wages of 20, 25, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 per hour. Alright, so now let's get into it. So now ChatGPT is trying to do the big one. So we got, this is still 41 grand. You're making 40 G's with a bachelor's degree. Look at that. Okay, what about masters? I don't offer one business, man. There you go. That's about, it's a lower pay, but 52 grand. Okay, now doctoral. This is technically low. This is technically low for doctoral degrees. But you gonna be making at least 6 grand. I mean 60 G's. Boom. Okay. Making that 70, that nice 70. Yeah, I gotta pay you money. education stuff matters here. Some people are like, oh, education doesn't matter. Yes, it does. So assume that if that's the highest pay, and it's 70, we paying everybody 70 grand, and we got 30 people. So take the 78,800 and multiply that by 30 for 30 people. So that means that the business would have to make, in order for us to all get paid that, we would have to all make $2.1 million before tax. So this is a $1 million business deal, $1 million business strategy for what we're doing right now. From what I just showed you, we got 30 people in a gig. So we talking about 30 doctors, Dr. Whomever's getting paid $72,800. We gotta make $2.2 million collectively as a business. So y'all all get paid that nice chunk change. So imagine. Remember that number. So imagine if 2.2. That's ideal for each year. McDonald's makes that in a minute. So imagine if we made 5 million, how much would be available for all the people? Or how many salaries could we add or hire new people to add to our 30? So we could do two things. You could either get a raise or... So this is business. So let's say, okay, so we make 5 mil instead of 2. So let's say the revenue we make is 5, right? That means that y'all can get paid. So we keep our 30 people. That means everybody's starting to make this much. They starting to make this much. That's a jump. They making 93,000 each. It's not realistic. That's what they said. Or you could say, let's add 8 more people, 8 new hires. Right? Most people are gonna say, let's add 8 new hires. They're like, oh, that I'm set with that. I can live with that. Let's do 8 new hires. Okay. So now the next year, let's say the next year, okay. So we're gonna do that. So, what if it was 10 mil with 38 workers at the original salary? What is the new situation? Like this is brainstorming. So now we're at the $10 million mark. So this year we made $10 million in revenue, right? This is what can happen. So we can get up to 99 employees, all making about 70 plus grand. That's not bad money. That's not bad money. Obviously, with making that much, and let's say you had the 30 people, then y'all making over 100 grand. Some universities are doing this. Are making 10 grand. No, they're making 10 million annually. Others are making more, right? For you to be amongst 100 employees making $100,000 annually, your business needs to be making 10 mil. That's nothing. So you helping? That's nothing. When you think about it, when you start doing that type of math, that's nothing. This is a notebook. The problem is that you got to find 100 hard-working, qualified doctors. Now, typically, in today's day and age, doctors want to be making at least 100K, but you get them doctors that's like, I need to be making like one. They start comparing how much money they making with other people. You need to be trying to get your number up to 1-3. So what would that look like if so now we're gonna up it. So now we're gonna say, okay, I got 100 employees, right? And all of them make 1-3. That's 130. Okay, 130. I'm gonna go back and say, okay, I have 100 employees with a salary of 130K. How much revenue do we need to make to pay them that full salary? So how much revenue do we have to make that year for you to get your 130? We gotta make 13 mil. So if I kept my 100 employees and we made 13 mil every time, you good, right? Okay, now let's just say $1 billion in revenue. Ooh. How much would they make if we earned $1 billion in revenue? So we earned $1 billion in revenue. We just went all the way up. 100 workers, $1 billion. Everybody making 10 million. That's way too much money for them. That's way too much. Okay, with that revenue, how many employees can we add to pay all the max of 130K? So if we had $1 billion in revenue, that means that you're making over $1 billion in revenue. There are people that's doing that. This is in revenue, meaning that this is what you're making in revenue, right? This is what you're considered a billionaire. This is what makes you a billionaire. Or if it was $1 million in revenue, that's what makes you a millionaire, right? Okay. So if you made $1 billion in revenue and everybody got paid, that's how many employees you got? 3,846. Or if you did a higher payroll, and they got a raise too, then that's how much they making. So if it's just regular, if it's just a pay cap rise, that's how much they making. I mean, this is how many people you got. And then if it's, oh, y'all getting like really, really high, so this is what you can pay. Oh, it's going down. My bad, sorry. So let's see, add more people. Okay, but ideally, about 3,000 to 4,000 to 4,000 employees. You know how many families this is? How many families is this? Because that's what I care about, is helping families. So it can be 3,000 families, right? It could also be half that, but you already helping over 1,000 families. You got both the mother and the father working there. Guess what? You got families. They're having a better life. Think about all of that. So that's typically what you want to be looking at. If you're not doing that with your business, you saying, I want to make $1 billion for myself, you're selfish. Don't nobody want to give you no $1 billion. You know, with 130K and smart moves, as families with kids, let's say I make $1 billion in revenue within the first 5 years. I'm not surprised. Okay, maybe the business don't even go up into another, maybe y'all doing this for 50 years. Y'all might cap at $1 billion in revenue, and that's fine. Y'all might be like, alright, 100 bill. Shoot, $1 trillion. Be a trillionaire. So let's see what this would look like. So how much would I be able to hire $1 trillion revenue? Same salary. So same salary, $1 trillion. So with $1 trillion in revenue, God is amazing. You can help over 7,692,307 employees, which can go from that many families or divided by 2. Which means that you're helping over a million families. And you don't know if this is nationwide. You don't know if this is global. You don't know. But that's some good work. Right? And you're helping over 1 million families. So this is what government bank accounts look like. this is what they see, is that they are responsible for these amount of people. So think about the amount of stress. It don't matter if you like them or not. Think about the amount of stress they gotta go through on a daily basis when they doing that type of stuff. I don't know if y'all saw that last part of the screen. Go ahead and put it back up so that y'all can see. This is what I'll put up. $1 trillion, 1 million families. That's a lot of families. Just to put it in perspective, how many families are in the city of Chicago alone? So, households or households? So, imagine if you earned $1 trillion, you know, that's a big city. That's old, like Chicago, that's pretty much like you're helping Chicago. That's just one big city. Okay, so how many households are in the United States? Oh my, now we're getting deep. Ooh-wee. Alright, wow. So this is how many households are in the U.S. There's 131.4 million families / households. And how much would it take to give every household 130K in their household salary? Oof, now we're not ready for that number. Wow. So, in order for you to reach this, you have to make 17 trillion dollars in revenue. Oh my God. And how much money does the U.S. have now? So how much does the U.S. have? The U.S. can't even support all of these families to where we're making this. They only own 5.7. This is how much they own. This is how much they got. They got 5.7. So if they not doing it to try to help y'all, your business trying to get, if you get here, they gonna be asking for some help. They're like, how are you doing this to help these many families? We're trying to do the same thing. Allegedly, that's what we're trying to do. But when you look at the problem and when you look at the issue from a money perspective, this is what you need from just the U.S. But the U.S. got too many enemies. This is how much we got, supposedly. This is how much you need to take care of them. And you got more households adding. You don't got enough for them. But with this, we can't get into the 100,000s. But we can get to like 30K. We can get to like 40 grand. So minimum wage is also going to be based on this right here. So let's take that. So take the 5.7 trillion and divide by 131.4 million households. And this is how much that you're supposed to just be getting. Wow. You know what every household, the average household income can be with what we got here? You want to know what the number is? That's teacher money. That's minimum wage. That's teacher money. With what you got right here, this is how much you can be getting. If you got anything under this, that's the poverty line. This is the poverty line. A notebook and your brain and some research does a whole lot. Boom. And the thing is, that's why I love black people. We can survive with that. If the only thing we using this for is bills and food, then we'll make that mug work. But that means that we living in apartments where cost of living is this. Cost of living, you can't live in a comfortable area if this is you, single person. These are households getting this. I forgot to say that. This is what a household is can get. So imagine living and you single and you making more than this. No wonder people looking at you like, hey, you want to start a family? You want to do this? Because this was all that got circulated. Guess what problem that is? Obviously, you saying it's not my problem, but you're a citizen. You might as well leave the country. Just saying. Just saying. So, dang. But if you look at other places, you gotta be making your money internationally. Now, just for perspective purposes, if my calculations are still right, this is how much money we got in total. Right? I've done this before. This is how many people we got. We got like 8 billion. If you did this math, this is how much everybody's supposed to be getting. Every person. It's only supposed to get. That's every person. But that's not even happening. This is globally. We're talking about the entire globe. Right? I'm talking about the entire globe. Like, we talking about, you got your talking about the whole entire globe. Right? I'm talking about the whole entire globe, right? We're not getting this. We ain't getting this. Somebody got a lot of money. Somebody holding on to stuff. Somebody, you wonder why some people are trying to go to war with us. You wonder why certain countries now don't like us. It's because whoever's in power is making stupid decisions. These government positions that y'all got, They look. If this is real, this is a real world problem. This is how much money we got. Let's just say this is in dollars. These are how many people we got. And this is how much money everybody can have. But the cost of living in certain countries is more than this. Guess what that means? They don't want you in your country. So we need to be going to places where how many I want to know where the cost of living is under 60 grand. Under 60 grand. Right? Because if it's under 60 grand, that's where we need to be trying to go. So let's see. Countries with cost of living under 60K. List, please. This is from ChatGPT. These are, so from Asia, this is what we get. We get Bangladesh. We have India. Really? We have Nepal. We have Pakistan. We have Vietnam. We got Sri Lanka. Indonesia. And we have the Philippines. In Africa, we have, wow, Egypt, South Africa, Nigeria, Morocco, and oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Kenya. Wow. Okay. In Latin America. I want to make sure that y'all getting this. I want to make sure y'all getting this. I want to make sure y'all getting this. These are real world problems, y'all. Peru. We learned about that in Ecuador. Wow. Guatemala. I learned these in Spanish class. These sound like some really, but Bolivia, Colombia, and Paraguay. That's Latin America. What about Europe? And the Caucasus. I don't really know what that really means, but I would like to know. So they got Georgia. And then you have Romania, Bulgaria, and Levita. Okay. And last, Costa Rica. Malaysia and Thailand. Man. And you know the only way for you to really do this, you wanna know how we can do this? If wow. So if you wanna really go out and get people, you know what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to really, if we wanna be for real, these are the countries. These are the places that you want to be able to go. And you going to have to make sure that you can somehow find a way for you to hire, but not only hire, you have to grant citizenship, hire, and move, and possibly reimburse to the manufacturing company. So that means that if you are planning to do this, if you want to get your 3,000 workers, you can do that. You got to go overseas and get people in. So let's just say that we staying in Illinois, not Illinois, just staying in the States. How much or what needs to be done to grant a person U.S. citizenship? Okay. Wow, this is amazing. 1 second. This is really amazing. Because there's certain things that you have to do. You have to be able to communicate correctly. You have to really give that opportunity. So these are your requirements. Make sure can we read it? All right, there we go. These are the requirements. 18 years old. That's number 1. Number 2. They have to have a permanent residence. And they have to have a green card. So this is usually for 5 years. And it's 3 years if married to a U.S. citizen. So what about the people that are internationally married? Well, this is very important. Okay. Number 3. Have continuous U.S. resident. So no long trips abroad. You have to be there 6 months at a time in the U.S. So you can't travel and then be out. You gotta be in there 6 months at a time. So you have to let people know, hey, if that means that you take a 3-month vacation, and at the 3 months you go to back to your country, you gotta do what you gotta do. I get it, because some people want to go back to their native lands. 3, you have to be a good moral character. I'm focusing on everybody. I'm not just focusing on just people in the country. So that means no serious criminal record. You cannot do that. You can't come to a foreign land and then act up. You can't do that. Right? Oh, let's do 4. You gotta be physically present in the U.S. for half of the residence. So half of the residency. Meaning, so your property you have to have your property for those 6 months, right? But you also you just gotta be physically present, right? So you gotta be present in the States for 6 months to keep your citizenship. Then, let's go to 6. You have to be able to speak English. Speak, write, read English. You have to. And I'm not the greatest of teaching that. So we would have to hire an English teacher. All right, let's go to 7. You have to pass the civics test. I don't know what the civics test is. Y'all, it's U.S. history, government, and the U.S. Constitution. And Constitution knowledge. This is the part to get your citizenship. And the last thing that you need is to show attachment to the U.S. Congress and willingness to support it. So that's what you have to do, right? Then the application process. The application process is this. So you have to file a N-400. So now we're saying how much it will cost. So it's going to cost $725. And this includes $640 of processing and $85 of the biometric fee. It's number 2. Then you do the fingerprints. You gotta do the photo and the signature. You know, you have to do your UCSIS, and then you have to receive approval. And then the last one is you have to take an oath of allegiance. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know all of this was part of it. You don't know this if you're not born in it. To officially become a U.S. citizen. Okay. Special considerations, military. I don't necessarily would advise it if that's not what you want to do. Children and waivers. So it will cost, this is what we need to know, it will cost $725 per person. That's not including travel, legal help, and document fees. So I want to see what, and this can take a process from 8 to 14 months. So well over a year. So it takes about 1 year to do this campaign. Right? It takes about a year for that to happen. Wow. So how much would it be including the document and legal help and travel average? So if we were to, so legal help, we want to do the max. So they said legal help, $2,500. This other thing that we had earlier is that much. Then documents can be about $200 per person. Then travel expenses, it could be, let's just add another $200. So you looking at per person, it can cost just $25 per person. It's for U.S. citizenship. So if you did this and you said, all right, I want to go to this country, you got all them countries that you can go to. You go to your homeland, guess what? Hey, let's go ahead and do this. That cost, let's say you had 100 people, and you did this for 25 people, $250,000. And you can get 100 people in legally. And keep them there. And they just gotta renew their stuff. They just gotta get their stuff renewed. You just have to remember, those 100 people, man, y'all gotta get y'all stuff renewed. Or if they decide to move to a different job, they gotta learn what they need to do so they can keep their citizenship. Imagine if you had added an extra zero, and instead of that much money, you had $2.5 million to get people back. You just brought another 1,000 people back into the U.S. legally. What if it was 25 million? You just brought in 10,000 people into the U.S., which is more than you have had to do business with. Okay, let's keep going. What if it was 250 mil? That's 100,000 people in the U.S. And you gotta make sure that y'all make enough to keep them up and keep them where they at. If it was 2.5 billion, it takes $2.5 billion to bring in 1 million people back into the U.S. And if they work like they say they do, and you teach them how to survive, and as you learn how to survive too, and you build your community, my God, you just witnessed the miracle. So, if you're going to do it right. If you're going to do it, make sure they got their papers, make sure they're educated, make sure nothing's happening to them, because families are changing. These are 1 million families that you can help around the world. This is what it looks like. And it really doesn't matter what your forte is in regards to how your busyness. It's just, it is possible. And I just showed you. So I want to go ahead and kind of just be like, you see that? Like that was, yeah. Wow. So I hope I learned a lot and just doing what I just got done doing. An hour, 90 minutes. That's $1 billion business. That's a strategy. Now it's the how. Can you do that? Can you keep your families here? Can you keep your employees here? Can you change communities? Can you stand on business? Can you be who you need to be? Can you be respectful? It's bigger than just you. Well, may the Lord watch between you all while we're absent from one another, and I just pray that, like, for all my future billionaires, when y'all make y'all 4th billion and y'all good, and you and your family is all decent, think about y'all can help another 1 million families. Y'all can go ahead and do that. You got the money, might as well. So, I'm out of here.